The snowfield was endless, a vast, blinding white under a sky the color of old iron. There was no sound but the wind, a low, mournful howl that scraped across the frozen ground. It carried the scent of pine and something else, something metallic. Blood. My blood. The horse went down first, a dark shape against the stark white, its scream swallowed by the wind. I was thrown, my leg twisting beneath me with a sickening crunch. Pain, white-hot, and immediate, shot up from my ankle. I tasted snow and blood in my mouth. I tried to stand, but my leg gave way, and I collapsed back into the drifts. I was a broken thing in a sea of white. He was out there. I hadn't seen him, but I knew. A hunter. The single shot that brought down my horse was proof enough. Now, he was circling, a patient predator waiting for the cold to do its work. I could almost feel his eyes on me, a prickling on the back of my neck that had nothing to do with the freezing air. The cold was a physical presence, a giant hand squeezing the life from me. It seeped through my coat, my gloves, my boots. Shivers racked my body, violent and uncontrollable. My teeth chattered, a frantic, useless rhythm against the symphony of the wind. I had to move. Not far, just enough. I dragged myself, leaving a dark trail in the pristine snow, my shattered leg a dead weight behind me. Every movement sent a fresh wave of agony through me, but the alternative was to lie here and freeze. The hunter would want that. Easy. Clean. I wouldn't give him the satisfaction. My training kicked in, a cold, hard voice of reason cutting through the fog of pain and fear. First, the bleeding. I fumbled with the clasp of my satchel, my fingers clumsy and numb. Inside, medical supplies, gauze, antiseptic, bandages. My hands shook so badly I could barely tear the packaging. I pressed the gauze against the wound on my calf, a deep gash from the fall. The fabric quickly darkened, with blood more oppressor. I leaned into it, gritting my teeth until my jaw ached. The world swam, a blur of white and gray. Don't pass out. Not now. Next. The break. It was bad. I could feel the bone grinding. A splint. I needed a splint. My eyes scanned the desolate landscape. Nothing. Just snow and sky. My gaze fell on my saddle, half buried a few yards away. The stirrup. It would have to do. I crawled towards it, each pull a monumental effort. The snow was like quicksand, pulling me down. My breath came in ragged, steaming gasps. Reaching the saddle felt like climbing a mountain. I worked the leather strap free, my fingers burning with cold. Then, the metal stirrup itself. It was heavy, unforgiving. I positioned it against my shin, using the leather strap and a strip torn from my own shirt to bind it tightly to my leg. The pain was excruciating, a blinding flash that almost made me scream, but I bit down on my glove, muffling the sound. I couldn't give the hunter a target. With the leg stabilized, I focused on the cold. It was the real enemy. Hypothermia was setting in. My thoughts were becoming sluggish, my movements clumsy. I knew the signs. I had to create a shelter, no matter how small. I found a slight depression in the snow, a shallow drift that offered minimal protection from the wind. I dug into it, using my hands to scoop away the loose powder, creating a small hollow. It wasn't much, but it broke the wind's relentless assault. I curled into a tight ball, pulling my knees to my chest, trying to conserve every last spark of body heat. The silence returned, deeper this time. The wind had died down, and the world was utterly still. He was getting closer. I could feel it. The snow crunched, a soft, deliberate sound somewhere to my left. He was testing me, seeing if I'd move, if I'd cry out. I remained perfectly still, my breathing shallow, my heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drum in the silent world. Hours, passette, or maybe it was minutes. Time had lost all meaning. The gray sky began to darken, the light fading into a deep, bruised purple. The temperature plummeted. The cold was a physical weight now, pressing down on me. I knew I didn't have much time left. My shivering had stopped, a dangerous sign. My body was giving up, shooting down. I needed a plan, a final, desperate gamble. My eyes scanned my meager possessions. My satchel, the small, polished steel buckle on the strap. It caught the last of the dying light, throwing off a faint glint. An idea, born of desperation, sparked in my mind. It was a long shot, a fool's hope, but it was all I had. I waited. The darkness deepened, and the first stars pricked the inky sky. The crunching came again, closer this time. He was moving in for the kill. He thought I was done, another frozen corpse for the snows to claim. I let my head low to the side, my body going limp, feigning the final surrender. He was cautious. The footsteps stopped. A long silence. I held my breath, the air burning in my lungs. Come on. Just a little closer. The crunching started again. Slow, measured steps, approaching my position. He was right on top of me now. I could hear the whisper of his clothing, the soft exhale of his breath in the cold air. Now, with a final, explosive burst of adrenaline, I moved. I didn't reach for a weapon. I reached for my coat. With a grunt of effort, I ripped it open and angled the steel buckle upwards, catching the faint starlight and reflecting it directly into his face. At the same moment, I kicked out with my good leg, not at him, but at the snow beneath his feet. For hours, I had been subtly, painstakingly packing the snow in one spot with my boot, creating a thin, brittle crust over a deep pocket of loose powder. A simple trap. A stupid trap. But in the dark, disoriented by the flash of light, it was anew. He cried out, a short, sharp sound of surprise, as the ground gave way beneath him. He stumbled, arms flailing, and pitched forward into the hidden drift. He was trapped, buried up to his waist in the soft, deep snow, his weapon lost. I dragged myself up onto one elbow, the world spinning around me. I looked at the flailing, cursing figures stuck in the snow, a wave of exhaustion, so profound it was almost peaceful. Was said over me. I managed a weak, cracked smile. Nio-ho? Looks like you fell for it, I rasped, my voice barely a whisper against the returning wind. Didn't your mother ever tell you not to play in the snow? Then, the darkness I had been fighting for so long finally rushed in, and I knew no more. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next one.